Good morning, Scott here, known as Cantaloupe to some online, and I'm bringing a subject to you that's interesting to me. It might be of interest to you or someone you know, and that is the subject of celebrating promiscuity, also exhibitionism, and a couple of other connected ideas in a few minutes. So I'm going to link a video in the description of this video that was my inspiration for making it, and I want to talk about the idea of a woman being if you'll pardon the expression, a whore. I don't like to use the word, and for my entire life, it has struck me as a swear word. And I'm not opposed to using swear words in general when they're called for emphasis or for literary context, that kind of thing. But it's a strong word, and I don't think it's considered necessarily a swear by most people. But that's a digression. So celebrating being a whore, quote unquote, and that's a literal quote from the video I'm linking in my description here. I want to talk about this and some misconceptions. I want to debunk a myth, first of all. Many of us have heard, most people have heard that the oldest profession is prostitution. I disagree. I'm just going to cut right to the chase. Excuse me. I disagree. I think that it's a cynical, badly informed view of women and people in general, and I think that nobody really knows what the first profession was, but I'd like to think that in a natural, balanced, tribal kind of environment, things are better than we realize. I believe that it's become a misconception that life is short, brutish, and terrible without modern conveniences. And this is a sales pitch. It's told because somebody's trying to sell you something, usually. So it gets retold and believed eventually, but it's not necessarily true. So connected to this idea is exhibitionism and promiscuity. And I think that there's an aspect of choosing your own adventure. I actually commented on this other video with that phrase, because if you're familiar with the books from back in the 80s and 90s, there were these choose your own adventure books, and they're kind of neat. You would skip ahead to a page based on a decision you made earlier in the book, and it would define a different life path for the character in the book, which is kind of a neat idea. It's educational, and it's analogous to the choices we make in life, which I think was the purpose of the book, honestly, to teach kids about how important it is to be able to choose and the consequences of your choices. They change your future. And this is no different, I think. The choice to accept that having a purpose, choosing a purpose for yourself, which may or may not be derogatory, whatever that means to you, has a huge impact on your quality of life, your happiness. And it's not so much about resources or conveniences beyond a point. I mean, yes, it is a little bit about money, having enough to be healthy and comfortable a little bit, but very soon after that, there's a diminishing of returns as far as how much happiness you can get just from money. And I cite any average wealthy person and their struggles. Money creates money problems. It's not the only answer, and it's not any kind of answer without something to buy, for example. If there was nothing to buy, money would be useless, if you need logical evidence. But celebrating promiscuity, celebrating exhibitionism, and maxing out the danger of it. It is dangerous. It's hazard. I mean, okay, so there's birth control, but that doesn't protect your heart. It doesn't protect someone else's heart. There's still the possibility of birth control failing. There's the possibility of STDs. There's the possibility of your reputation being affected, if that matters. And I think that some of these celebrations I see are a protest against being judged by judging themselves first. It's like, you can't judge me because I already called myself a name, kind of thing, but it doesn't really solve the problem. It's like the thief saying, before someone can accuse them of stealing something, that they're a thief and they're proud of it. It's like, it doesn't make it better. And with due respect, I think that many women in particular are at risk for health hazards, getting pregnant if they choose to, if they ever end up pregnant, and an accidental pregnancy is still a thing. So my point is that there's a disproportionately higher risk to women, which is traditionally why women are viewed differently, not just by men, but by everyone. Because if a woman gets pregnant, she's down for 9 months unless she gets an abortion, and that's also terrible. But it's not. It's a huge commitment. It's a huge life-changing thing. I mean, and it it's not a risk that a man has. Is this not clear? Men don't get pregnant. Men don't carry the baby. Men can run away immediately, but women can't. And it makes a difference in terms of protecting people and regarding them as sacred or vulnerable, and having some kind of expectation of a barrier to entry, literally, if you will. So this shouldn't be a mystery. None of this should be a mystery. So when I hear celebrations of people, being proud of being a whore, it's sad. It makes me sad, because there's a better life out there, and you don't have to agree with that. This is my opinion. I think that many women would be happier having some kind of natural existence. I think that when you depart from nature, and I'm not even trying to define what that is for you, I'm just saying, if nature is getting further away from your lifestyle, or vice versa, so is your happiness for some reason. And I can't even necessarily explain that, but it just seems to be the case. The farther you get from nature, that is, the more artificial your existence becomes, the more technological, I guess, probably as well. That is to say, using phones and cameras, and I know I am too, but we have to, right? This is our new life. This is our new lifestyle, our collective lifestyle. So I don't know. It's depressing. It's a little bit depressing seeing women replace what used to be organic happiness with a glowing screen and a paycheck from that screen. It gives them attention where they used to get attention from a person. It gives them income where they used to have to trust someone and bond with them to get that support while they're having kids. And now it's much less about connecting and being natural than turning on the camera. So I'm at 8 minutes, and that's a lot to think about. You may or may not agree with traditional roles, but I would contend that many of those are rooted in just logic. The eventuality that arises from the woman carrying a baby for 9 months and having to give birth to it, because that has implications. It absolutely does. So have a great day. Reach out with questions or comments to whitehotrobot@gmail.com. Thank you.